Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers. What?
What?
What is going on?
You know what, man?
Coach KJ, the Insta Doc, live with Sipping on Excellence.
I was just thinking about how good them damn cookies were just now.
Boy, need that sugar in the system before this drink. My goodness.
Boy,
Whoa.
Girl Scout cookies, Samoas, they will ruin your life.
Man.
Man.
You ever hear about that Girl Scout cookie company? The troops that were in front of the what is it? Was it a dispensary?
Yeah, I saw the little thing. The girl was killing it. She was killing
Made
it.
5.2 mil.
Genius.
She probably made more than the dispensary made that day in cash.
She was there with her dad.
Yeah.
I was like, that's genius.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we go on, welcome y'all to another episode of Sipping on Excellence. Another Saturday back at
It is
you.
another Saturday. Another Saturday. Another Saturday. Not another. Another Saturday. Lazy tongues, boy.
Yeah, right. Had a great live this morning for all y'all who missed it. Mm-hmm. But it was good. So tune in every week, man. 11 o'clock. Y'all are going to get this in real live and in living color.
We are acting like we are informants. We are here to inform.
Yeah.
Information.
Take it all in.
Sip on it.
Hey, and we're also here to receive it. Y'all need to be reaching out to us. Let us know what y'all want to hear. Give us your thoughts.
You heard it from him. Y'all better be reaching out to us.
Well, I will say some of you guys have been very good about spitting topics out at us, and we appreciate you for it.
Yeah.
So thank you. And it's just, like I said, we got a ton of topics that we could talk about. We always want to know what you guys want to hear.
You silly Negro.
On another note, Coach KJ just told me I got the word Negro on my birth certificate. I didn't know that. I'm going to have to go look and see that I'm identified as a Negro in the 1970s.
We're part of the Negro League.
Yes, we are. But you know what? I did not know that.
Yeah. Yep. If you are, I don't think it changed until maybe the 80s.
Interesting.
So, I mean, that's why they
When they start calling us black?
I think that's a good question. I think there was always either, once they identified white as black.
Yeah.
I think that's gone on forever.
That's gone forever, yeah.
But the Negro, of course, that's Latin for black.
Yes,
so,
Negro, colored.
Yeah.
It's wild how these terms come about.
Or yellow, let alone colored.
Colored.
I mean,
Like, where the fuck did that come
I can
from?
respect Negro, but
Right, colored.
And the thing is,
Do I look like a rainbow?
Right. But I think when you use the term Negro, people immediately think of nigga or nigger or whatever. It's not the same thing.
Right.
It's an identification of color. That's all.
Colored,
Which is
colored is
interesting.
worse.
Yeah.
Y'all see that little colored boy over there? That's just
The bad part is both races do it. That little color boy over there. Right. Oh, light skinned.
Oh, light skinned. That old house Negro over there. We going off the rails now.
we were temperamental about this, but hey, it is what it is. But it's our reality.
Yeah.
It is your reality.
100%.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just words, man. You silly Negro.
Oh man, it feels good to be back, y'all, for another week.
I know.
We got some good stuff to talk about today that pretty much everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
At some point in your life, you're relating. You're doing it now, probably.
I think you're doing it even if you're married.
Yeah, you have to be.
Yep.
If you're not, and people are like, "What the hell is he talking about?"
If you're not, when my wife was on the couch chiming in,
yeah.
we were on the phone.
But she was right. If you're not doing it, then your marriage probably isn't good.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. Don't get excited yet, y'all. Not yet. Slow your roll. We're going to get to that when I'm about halfway into this sip.
Oh, my goodness. It's a little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Without me even pouring heavy. Good Lord.
They made it heavy for us.
I know.
Coach, man, we were talking earlier about this week. Tell me about your week, man. Tell me about what you learned about yourself this week.
I learned this week that I am good when I can just sit silent for at least a good 5 to 10 minutes at certain points of the day.
Okay.
I'm really good if I can just sit in silence.
Do you meditate during that time, or you just be there with your thoughts?
Be there with my thoughts and just taking deep breaths. At least I'm probably exaggerating. It's probably longer.
I'm like 5 minutes ain't that long.
No, it's not that long. But just to have moments in the day and just say, just taking those deep breaths, taking it in, and just reflecting on me. Not reflecting on what I need to do, just reflecting on me.
Yeah.
What I learned is that puts me in a very powerful position when I'm done. Like, okay, let's go. What are we doing now? We're so busy and so caught into feeding the spirit of others and chasing and filling other cups as opposed to filling your cup up. And they get what's remaining of what you've put into you. You have a whole lot more to offer once you pour into you.
True. But you're right. You can't feed others unless your stomach is full. I mean, and when I say at least your stomach is full, it means you can't give to somebody if you're running on empty.
Yeah.
And that is what Coach just said. And so sometimes you got to just take that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I learned this week.
What did you learn this week?
Sleep.
I did. This brother fights me tooth and nail when we talk about sleep. I will get off the phone. All right, you gotta go to bed. He'd be like, yeah, okay. 3 hours later, he's still up. But
I learned
for the first time
this week, I was just burning the candle at both ends, just been on the go. And last night, I slept so good. And maybe it's just because I didn't have a good night's sleep and haven't had a good night's sleep in years. And I went to sleep last night, no agenda this morning, but to wake up. Mm-hmm. Didn't have any, I wasn't going to get on social media. I wasn't going to answer any emails before I went to bed. I watched a little TV before I fell asleep. And then, I was out. I had one, I woke up in the middle of the night and went right back to sleep, and I was out.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
World could have came to an end.
Yeah.
And I would have been like, cool, I was out.
Let me ask you this, because you woke in the middle of the night. We know what you had to do.
I had to go pee.
Everybody had to go pee. But let me tell you, when it's real good sleep, do you stand up or do you sit down?
Oh, sit down.
Yeah.
That's a given. I ain't trying to wake up at all.
No,
I ain't even trying to open my eyes.
I know that it requires way too much energy.
I got to be awake to make sure I hit the bowl.
Oh boy, because you had to turn the light on. Yeah. Oh, yep.
Nope.
Yep.
I can do it by feel.
So,
otherwise.
ladies, that's something you don't know about us men. At the middle of the night,
we sitting down.
We sitting down. We
it's
do
that
not
simple. On another note, one thing I learned again this week was how powerful a message can be when you're doing something for other people, how that translates into your own success. It's weird because this week we had, and you saw, the shoes came in. Mm-hmm. I had great conversations with people from the health ministry in Ethiopia about getting kids these shoes, whatever. Yeah, I'm giving a little bit away. But because of that karma's been put out there. And this week I had meeting after meeting with people who are like, we want you to do this. We want you to do that. And opportunities this week that I think all stem from just the want to do more for people. So now more's coming back at me. And that was kind of cool. it's always been the case, but I sat with that this morning, and I was like, maybe this is why things are falling into place. Good. It was a good place to be in.
But you also understand that goes back to what I just said before.
Yeah.
You poured into you.
Yeah.
Creating your purpose. You poured into you. You know what you want to do. It started with the journey of doing and saving and helping others. Okay, all right, I got that. All right, cool. I'm gonna crack some backs. I'm gonna go in that back and fix you. But then it became, oh, well, how can we do more of this? Or how? And then it expands into other little subtitles.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm pouring into me, which allows me to fill everybody else's cup.
Yes. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
I know.
Isn't he so modest?
That's why I coach.
Touche.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So been a good week. And that's what I'm glad to be here today, to be able to talk about all the good stuff we're going to talk about today. Tell people about this cocktail, though.
I can't remember the name of it. I'm already good. All right, felt
Mezcal Buck.
There you go.
Mezcal
Buck.
It's
2 ounces of mezcal.
yeah.
Not 1, 2 ounces.
Dose.
Ooh, I don't even think a shot has 1 ounce. Yeah, this is 2 ounces of mezcal. A teaspoon of simple syrup. Yeah, about an ounce of lime juice, shaken up vigorously. Then you tap it off with ginger beer.
When I tell y'all this cocktail,
It's
cool.
bucking. It is bucking. That's what. Now I understand why it's called
that Mezcal Buck.
Yeah.
Cheers. Brother. Y'all gonna want to sip on this one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a. You know, it's usually by halfway through our show, my drink is gone. I'm gonna have to.
You're gonna slow your roll on this
slow
one.
my roll.
I'm not.
I'm gonna have to cradle this one to the grave.
Especially since I don't know what coach is gonna fire me today. So
I mean, I don't know. It's just conversations
gonna flow.
Yeah. But
and it's funny, this topic we're talking about today, Coach and I never talk about this.
no,
So it's
no.
gonna,
I don't. You know what's so funny? I always figure like, hey, he's out there dating. He'll figure out when he figure it out. You
right?
know? I don't push people's button, man. Like I got one of my boys. He said he pulled the trigger finally. My buddy Adam Cerner. Congratulations, Adam. I just want to say congratulations on this podcast. I went out there in the atmosphere of how great you are and what you've done and what you continue to do. He proposed to his girl, and it was a big whoop-de-doo. I don't know if you can see it from here, but there was a ticker tape that went over the hill.
no kidding.
Yeah. She thought she was coming in for a little bit of what is it called? Like a photo shoot for his website and showing a little more lifestyle.
Right.
And she showed up and he had bed of roses going all the way out to just by the poolside, and it's over the hill, and got down on one knee, and the photographer caught everything, and ticker tape went over and said, "Will you marry me?" And yeah, man.
Doing it big.
He did it big. And then she has kids.
Okay.
So the kids came like, 10, 15 minutes after. But,
Nice.
he said, man, I had bubble guts. I'm like,
wrong time to have that stomach bubbling.
Man, he's like, I'm nauseous. I'm like, oh, man, I have 15 more minutes. I got 20 more. Oh, God, when can I do this?
Something must be in the air. You remember from my birthday, you met them, Rob and Jackie.
Okay. Yeah.
Rob proposed.
Wow.
Yeah. They got engaged a couple weeks back.
Spring chickens.
And Rob, I was like, that's never going to happen. They've been together forever, and it's what it is. I didn't know. I knew she kind of wanted it, but I thought she was okay with it. He did the do. I was like,
don't ever think that she's okay with it.
Oh, no. But
she's learned to accept it maybe, but she's never okay with it.
But he shocked her. We were all like, you proposed? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
They're built different, man. From babies, they're taught this idea, this energy. This is my protocol in life. Get married. Okay, what else happens?
And whether, and we'll get to this into the dating game, is why they date with a purpose. You know? But before we get into today's topic, let's talk about what's wrong with y'all, man.
Coach
just told me about one that was.
Oh my goodness! So in Mississippi, on the news, I guess I don't know if they were eating something or whatever. You know, they do samples or whatever. So this woman, old white woman, old white woman, that is on the news, not a visitor. She said, "Oh, that's like for shizzle, my nizzle." And there was a brother that was next to her, and he just like, oh,
just dropped his head, huh?
like, you have got to be kidding me. She goes, and I think the funny thing is, honestly, I don't think she had a clue.
She probably didn't have a clue. She thought it was a cool thing to say, and
and not being able to say the N word, but
right.
the identification of it.
Yes,
she found out.
She thought the culture was going to accept that. The culture fought back.
It got hot. She got fired.
Hey, fuck around and find out.
Oh, you gonna learn today,
right? So she is unemployed, as she should be.
Well, I mean, she probably can go to Georgia and work with Paula Dean.
Of course, they'll both be cool after this.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to hear. Shoot us a message and let us know what y'all think about that. Was she wrong? Was it right that she got fired? For shizzle my nizzle, we all know what that means, but it's become so mainstream with Snoop and all that. Was she in the wrong? I think she's in the wrong.
I think so as well.
But there may be people out there who don't think, or there's going to be people out there who probably don't understand why she got fired. Fire her ass.
And then, of course, they'll go into that deep dive about woke culture and everything else, which is, first of all, woke, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with us.
No.
It's about us, but it's about them just not.
Making them feel better about themselves, about how they treat us.
Right. Yeah, they're blind spots, which is still an elective. But, I'm not going to get into that because we're going to talk about dating.
But then, right? And then that woke culture gets, what was funny.
But because we also can talk about woke culture within dating as well.
Yes. One thing that I thought was funny, I was watching a clip of Piers Morgan, and he was talking, and it was about how people identify. He had a book in front of him. He said has 100 genders in it. 100 gender identities. I'm not understanding.
I am not either.
It was to the point where I wanted to Google and find what that book was, just so I could read and see what are the 100 identities. There's one identity that's called a two-spirit individual. Two-spirit person. I'm sorry.
What does that mean?
No clue.
Oh. You don't have your phone? Where's your phone?
I'll Google it later.
Okay.
Because there's you know what? Fuck that.
Dude, this is our podcast. It's not theirs. This is the.
But it was. I was like,
everybody help them.
Two-spirit individual, and I was just like, what the hell does that mean?
But what does that mean as a gender, though? That's not
two-spirit gender. Two-spirit refers to a person who identifies as having both a masculine and feminine spirit, and is used by some indigenous people to describe their sexual. What gender is 2S? Yep, an important term within some indigenous cultures, and for some indigenous people, meaning a person with both a feminine and masculine spirit living in the same body. This is often used to describe sexual orientation, gender identity, and or spiritual identity.
There's a large population. I don't want to say a large population, but there's a population in the Polynesian Islands. I think is it? Fuck. I saw this whole documentary about it, but it was. They're like Polynesian people, but they were men that were kind of cross-dressed, is transgendered. Mm-hmm. Because they took on the role of both sides in the family. So they were kind of mother-ish as well as the father. And
Okay.
they, I was like, oh, okay. But I think we're struggling with the whole idea of what to identify or not identify, that we have to create all these names. It makes us feel good.
Or at some point, do we go so far with an identity that we just want to be something different?
Yeah.
So I want to identify as something completely different.
Like a cat.
Or
That happened.
like a two-spirit cat. Mm-hmm. It's like,
Whatever you decide
to make up that day, you're like, this is what I'm going to feel like. And at some point, like when we talk about this all the time, I get some gender identities, gender, dysphoria, all that kind of thing. But 100 different genders? Or do we just need to redefine the word gender? You know what I mean? Anyhow, we could go on forever and ever about that.
No, we can't, because I won't. I'm going to dip that one in the bud right there. Anyway.
Our topic today, the dating game.
Yeah.
And Coach and I talked about this, brought it up because I'm like, it's crazy in these streets right now. And the reason why I say that is because, number one, people don't meet organically anymore.
No. How often do you hear the term, hey, listen, I got a girl I want you to meet? Or, to a girl, I got a guy I would like you to meet. I think you guys have some similarities. I think you'll meet.
That doesn't happen anymore.
I'll be honest with you. I think that is one of the things that make me so happy and elated about the relationship that I'm in. I feel like we were the last of Mohicans.
Yeah.
Because literally two different couples said, hey, I think you guys should meet. And I was at a dinner party. She was at a different dinner party with the same group. And they made that decision like, oh, we think you guys should meet. And then my boy was like, yeah, you want to meet her. When my boy told me that, I was like, okay, I'm in.
Right?
I trust him.
Right. It's that validation that you get
Yeah.
from the people around you that, I'm sorry, you can't get online. And so here's the funny part. I'm having a discussion with Ryan last night. Mm-hmm. And we were talking. He's like, yeah, I was telling about, people I've met. And first thing he said, oh, where'd you meet her? App? I'm like, nah, just in the street. Like, hey, what's up? And he's like, really?
I would say the same thing.
Yeah, because it doesn't happen. It's funny how people nowadays, and what I've noticed is that because I was like, you know what, I'm trying to experiment. And years ago, I was like, you know what, I'm going to look on Bumble. I'm going to go on The League. I'm going to do Raya. I'm going to do a couple of these, right? And I just looked, and I just like, you know what? This is not me. Mm-hmm. It's almost like and for a lack of better terms, it's almost like an auction. You're just flipping through an auction book and hoping that somebody bites when you put your bid in.
Sears catalog.
And when you have thousands of people options to choose from and flip through, and the only thing you have to go on is the touched up photograph that they put there, the made up story that they put there, which 99% of the time, none of it's real. And you're like, all right, well, I'm going on based off of that. I'm going to now initiate a conversation out of thin air. And now there's people out there who have met their spouses on dating apps, et cetera. And I'm not knocking it. I just think it's very weird. You can't develop a real connection with somebody without having a face-to-face conversation.
I have a question for you.
Yep.
How do you think the app world has affected the masculine trait?
I think what it's done is made it so men don't have to court.
That's where I was getting at.
The whole courting process, the whole let me ask her out on a date, let me approach her, let me say hello, because think about it. Men have lost the ability to read a woman's body language.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Before you meet somebody, when I'm out or if I'm see a woman I'm interested in, I look for certain cues, because ladies, this one's for you guys. Men who have nothing to lose will walk up to 1,000 women over the course of a day.
Mm-hmm.
And
said that before
he's playing the odds. High value men, successful men that have a lot going for them, can't stand rejection, aren't used to it, and so they look for cues of your interest before he shows his. It's that simple. I won't roll up on a woman if I don't get something from her that, I'm open to approach. When you're looking at pictures online, you don't know what's what. You're just swiping left, swiping right, hoping that she does the same. And then you move on to the next. So when they hit you back, you forget why you even swiped on that person. It may have been a mistake swipe.
I almost feel like that the whole app world of dating game, I mean, because I don't know, I've never been on an app because I never had to.
Right.
It existed after me.
Your marriage predates that.
Exactly. Like
that era.
literally right at that time.
Yeah.
They had just started getting really, really hot.
Yeah.
I feel that the whole app world, it's like a participation trophy.
How many people can I match with? But I want to take it back, because I wanted this to be sort of educational as well for men and women. And I want to talk about, as a man, what kinds of things are being done right in my world by women to make me say, you know what, I would date her because of this.
Okay.
To give women an idea of kind of what men appreciate. And then I can tell you the mistakes that women make with me, so I can say, you know what, this is not cool. And then I can tell, we can talk about, and you can speak to this because you've dated before.
Yeah, I dated before, but I also can speak to what has worked when you go beyond. What has worked from the dating aspect that has allowed me to get married, that has allowed me to continue to date my wife.
Right.
And, put some spec behind my name, because sometimes, you get lost in your ways because you're now married and how you have to step out of that post mindset
that you don't have to date anymore.
Yeah, you don't have to date, and then you lose your way, and how we have to continue to recreate that value of each other.
Yeah, so you guys are going to get the full spectrum of dating today. Yeah. And we'll also talk about, as men, what we see that we've done wrong in dating that didn't work and how we've grown. And that changes from teens to 20s to 30s to 40s, from single to married.
Right.
You still date, but the way that you date changes based on your experience with, because we're both heterosexual men, we're going to talk about male-female interaction. But in general, it changes as we age, as we become more mature, as we become successful, things we expect, things we want, all of those things. And so I think we'll touch on all that and then get into, why I'm single still and what's next.
Well, you know what? When we start there, what allows you to continue to be single?
At this ripe young age of 25, times two.
Negro, please. That's the theme for the day.
So the number one question I get asked a lot is that, why am I still single? And I'll be the first to say it's not because I haven't come across women in my life who aren't good women. They've just met me at the wrong time in my life or the wrong time in theirs.
Okay.
And people don't realize how important timing is.
Timing is everything.
I look back on women I've met in my life, and I can count the ones that I'm like, yeah, she was great. but just not for me at the time.
Okay.
You know, either I was in college. Basically, these women that I've met, I was always working towards the next thing.
Okay.
I'm working towards my purpose, and I'm moving 100 miles an hour in one direction, and they weren't moving with me in that direction. It was, I had to put you second, and I didn't know at younger ages that I can work towards my purpose and take care of you as well. It was one or the other, you know.
Okay.
And now that I look back,
I was like, you're gonna have to give me some clarity on that one.
Yeah.
I was like,
I used to think it was. I
Yeah.
think used to think it was one or the other, you know. And that's why I said, as I matured, I realized you can do both because one doesn't have to hold you back. And so I always thought they were going to hold me back, so I would cut it off before they got the chance to hold me back.
Right. But that's part of a maturation process.
Yeah,
don't
for
you
sure.
think? Yeah.
For sure. And when I look, and that's why I would say 90% of the women I've ever dated in my life, to this day, if I call them and say, hey, let's go grab a cup of coffee, it would be fine because we never ended on shitty, bad terms. It was just, it wasn't meant to be at the time. It didn't work, you know? And so going through that process, you realize, all right, I got to figure this out because number one, I'm not getting any younger. And at some point in time, you have to realize life wasn't meant to be lived alone. Now, is it necessary to get married? No. But one of the necessities in life is companionship. And however you find that companionship.
Right.
And your friends can only do so much. Your family can only do so much. And so at that point, you have to say, okay, I can achieve a certain level of success by myself. But what could I achieve with somebody there who makes me better?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
don't know. 'Cause right now,
I'll be honest with you.
all I know is me.
Yeah. And see, I believe for me, especially for what I do, in all honesty, it's helped me tremendously because there's a level of respect because
Correct.
I believe it's like home ownership. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you're married. Oh, okay. All right. I have a lot of respect for that. Okay. Man, in the fitness world, in this, you know, they have this idea of what the fitness world looks like.
Right.
It's not the fitness world. I'll tell you, the real world is teachers. Anyway, but there's a level of respect that goes behind it, and they get behind you. They're like, oh, okay, all right. Well, you know, and also people start identifying. They're like, oh, well, we need to help you because you have to build a business because you have you and your wife. If it's just you, you can just go out there and just keep fishing. But otherwise, if you have a wife, they're like, oh, you know, I have this couple or I have this person, whatever, because they see more than just you.
Yes. And what I will say is that people think very highly of their friends. When people come to me and say, I got somebody I want you to meet,
Yeah.
it all depends on who that somebody there is telling me. You know,
You also have to hear it from, when that happens, especially meeting, you have to hear from both the male and the female. If
And
it's
I gotta-
just the female,
yeah.
if it's the male and the female.
Because not to bash women, but women are very kind to their single girlfriends.
Because they want her out of their way.
Exactly. And they just want their girl to be, they don't want their, y'all gonna hate me. I don't want my girl to be happy. I want my girl to be out the way.
It dawned on me just now. I remember a friend of mine in high school his girlfriend tried to set me up with somebody just to go like on a double date somewhere. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. She's like, oh, she's cute. She's this, she's that, you know, she's athletic. And this girl was thicker than a Snicker. And not in a good way.
She's an athlete. She's a down lineman.
Yeah. Exactly. I was like, oh, whoa.
But here's the other thing too. Like my sister-in-law, 20 years ago, whatever, when we first moved to LA, she's new here. So she's just meeting people. And me sister was like, hey, I got this girlfriend that I want you to meet. Cool. And you know, I'm a guy. Yes, the first thing we're going to ask, is she cute? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
Is she cute? Is
Because
always
they want to, honestly, if they ask the girls, they want to know if we're cute.
right. But women, the first thing we are going to ask, is she cute? The second thing we're going to ask, is she crazy? And everybody knows what that means. You know, is she, does she have a reputation of keying people's car, putting sugar in the gas tank, things like that? Is she a stalker? Okay. No? Yeah, let's go. I can meet anybody and I can have a conversation with anybody. So we go out. I think we went bowling or something, right? All of us. Mm-hmm. The first thing I said to my sister-in-law after that interaction, maybe an hour into it, I looked at her and I was like, your friend is crazy. She's like, how are you so judgmental? I'm like, she's cute, but she ain't all there. So we never went out after that night because I was like, I know it. I can sense it. I've been out with enough women. I can sense when something's off.
What did she do?
She didn't do anything. It was just something that I could tell.
No. Did she find out that she did something else to somebody else?
Yeah. My sister-in-law came back and just realized, not through what she did to somebody else, but just interactions with her. After a while, she's like, oh, yeah, she's crazy. I was like, I tried to tell you day one. I could just sense that there was something off about her. And that comes from a lot of experience dating a lot of y'all. If something, red flags, we'll talk about those in a minute. If something pops up, I'm not dating just to smash. You know what I mean? I did that in my teens and 20s. As you get older, it now becomes, okay, I see you. I'm physically attracted to your appearance. That's what gets you a hello.
Right.
What comes out of your mouth is what gets you to a first date. And then what are you bringing to the table? And I do not mean your
Bank
job.
account.
I do not mean your bank account. I mean your personality. Are you cool? Are you funny? Are you open to?
Are you a group person? Are you, are you
Do you
solo?
do you have friends?
Right.
Are you somebody who's sociable? Do you, what do we like? It's just like that. I went out on this date with this woman, and I got a couple of stories. One, I got invited to this birthday dinner.
Okay.
Kind of like you. Went to a birthday dinner or whatever you went out. And so I didn't know. Somebody was inviting me to this dinner and inviting this woman to this dinner. And it was at this restaurant in LA years ago called Comsa. It's gone away, but it was on across the street from Chiconi's. And so we sit at this big table. We're sitting there, and she sits next to me. And I'm like, oh, I need to say she's in the fitness industry. And I'm like, damn, she's hot. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And we just start talking. I did not know they invited us both there for this reason.
Okay.
A couple cocktails, having dinner. We're chatting with everybody. Dude, conversation went great.
She knew, though.
No, she didn't know either.
Really?
No, we were just both members. And they were like, basically afterwards we were told, we would hope that you two would meet and like each other. That's why
fair.
Yeah. Because they wanted it to be completely organic with nobody with an agenda.
Yeah.
And so that night I was like, oh, we should get together again. She's like, yeah, but we sat next to each other. That was planned because we were standing at the bar talking. I was like, oh, let's just sit here. And that's how it kind of rolled. Great conversation. So we go, first date. I go pick her up. We go to dinner. We're sitting at dinner. She has probably 5 cocktails by the time I had one. So I'm like, oh, she's just nervous. Right? Dude, can I tell you? And when I tell you, this woman was like walk into a room, music stops, women look at her, men look at her, and every conversation stops. That's how stunning she was. But when I say sitting across the table from her at dinner and having a conversation, it was like pulling teeth. She sat there looking at me like a deer in headlights the entire night. And all I kept thinking was, you were so cool the other night. What happened? And so I was like,
she probably smashed a few before she got there.
Dude, she was so dull. I was just like, ah. So took her home, went about my business. I was like, you know what? And like men, I was like, she's so hot. I gotta take her out again. Just maybe that was just the one off. Took her out again. Same thing. And here's the crazy part. When I take her back to her place, at that moment I knew, I'm like, I'm good. I'm out. She's like, so you want to come up? And I literally looked at her and I was just like, nah, I got to go home. I got an early morning. This was a Saturday. What am I do early morning on a Sunday? But for me to walk away from that, and I know that was a blow to her ego because she was that stunning. And I was just like, and her friends called me. He's like, yeah, what happened? Whatever. I was like, dude, she couldn't talk to me. And I felt myself like, that's when I knew I'm bored with this. It's just beauty.
You're so unshallow, bro.
but here's the funny part. So I threw a party at my house, Labor Day party at my house, whatever. Okay. And I was like, you know what? There'll be some single guys there, whatever. I'll invite her. So I call her up. I invite her. I'm sitting on my staircase. And you remember my house and the staircase was, and she's standing. Dude is standing in front of me, and I'm sitting on the staircase. As he and I are having a conversation, there's people all over the house. I see him stop, and he goes. And in my mind, I was like, oh, she's here. Without even looking, because she just walked in the front door. She walked in, gave me a hug. I was like, hey, everybody's out back. Go out back. He's looking at me like, holy shit. I'm like, dude, she's fair game. So he's just honor. And the end of the night, I go outside, and now she's chatting everybody up. She's that same person she was the first night. So then I realized.
Interesting.
So then I realized she's cool as shit in a group setting. One-on-one, she's terrible. And I was like, I can't.
Because she has to now be more enclosed.
She's the center of attention now when she's by herself.
Yes.
Instead of being part of the attention.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't.
And being part of the attention, she's such an attractor. It's like, oh, okay, so everybody thinks she's in because she's an attractor.
Right.
But not realizing that she just needs to learn to engage with whomever. It's kind of scary.
Engage.
It's kind of scary, and there's a lot of people like that.
Yeah,
there's a lot.
And so one word of advice I can give, and the reason why I tell that story, the moral of the story is just we talk about this all the time. You got to communicate.
You know what else too is, and something to really consider, and I'm saying this because this happened to me, is a lot of times when men are very confident and very secure. Mm-hmm. It creates a level of fear sometimes in women. There was a woman that I went out with before I met Kenyatta.
Yeah.
And every time, like what happened, like we hung out, we were good, we were in a social setting, whatever, that's how we met.
Right.
So like, we should hang out, whatever. We go out a couple of times, we hook up, whatever. And what ended up happening was I found out that every time we were together, just us, she was drinking a lot. She didn't know how to deal with it. And then, she didn't know how to deal with it at all. She's like, and one time I was like, let me ask you a question. Why are you drinking so much? Like, what's driving you to drink? She's like, you make me nervous. You really make me nervous. So what is it about? She said, there's a level of confidence that she said, I'm just going to tell you, I haven't been with anybody like you. So there's a level of confidence that you just kind of walk into the room with, like no big deal.
Right.
And, and I don't know. I don't know how to receive it. I said, I'm just here to be with you. It shouldn't be any more than that. And
but yet people say, women will always say, I like a confident man.
Right.
But a confident man makes you insecure, so I don't get it. And so this is a word of advice to women out there. Men will pursue you. A man who likes you will pursue you. But you have to communicate and let him know his pursuit is not in vain.
Right.
Because
and that becomes about your self-value that you have for yourself.
Because a man may not pursue you the way you may feel you want to be pursued, but he may be pursuing you the only way he knows how.
Right.
And you have to take that into account. A dude who, like somebody like me, I don't have a lot of time on my hands. I have 50 jobs. And so if I tell if I tell you I'm going to make time for you, this dude right here. So if I tell you I'm going to make time for you, or if I reach out to you, and you don't reach out back, like you don't, or if I text you and say, hey, how's your day? And then and what are you up to on Saturday, or what are you up to on Monday, whatever it may be. If I ask you a question and I don't hear from you for a day, you're not interested. It's that simple.
That's fair.
And so don't come back to me later saying, well, no, I am. I was busy. No. That I'm busy.
Now, if you said I'm out of town.
Doesn't matter. Your phone still works.
This is true.
I don't care where you are in the world. Technology has made it so that is no longer an excuse.
Especially, I hate to say it, especially for women, they are attached to their phones.
100%. You're on social media all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
or how about the whole, and we've talked about this before as well, the whole, I call you, you don't answer, but you text me back.
If you're not sitting in the middle of a meeting, pick up the phone and at least say, hey, I can't talk right now, but you need something?
Let me hit you back.
Yeah. And so it's a game that people play. And I think that's why we're calling it the dating game. And it shouldn't be a game. We should all date with purpose. We should all date with intention. What is your intention? If my intention is simply to get some ass, okay, well, then that's my intention. I'm going to date you with that intention. If my intention is to develop a deeper connection and see where this can go, then you have to be receptive to that. If you're not receptive to that, make your intentions known.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want some dick. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
At least I know that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
It's
like even with married, I think married men that continue to date their wives will say, it's me showing her that she's a value. It's more of a value thing than anything else. It has nothing to do with anything else. Like, I still respect you. I still find you attractive. I still find you just, you're luxurious.
Yeah, they want to feel that way. And men want to feel the same way.
Yeah.
Women always say we're the prize. Men like to feel like they're the prize too.
Yeah.
And if a guy is putting himself out there and you're saying, I can't let him know that I care about him a lot or that I like him, we're going to lose interest. And one of two things is going to happen. We're going to stop dealing with you, or you're going to move to that purely sex zone, because we've realized that you're not serious, so we're not going to be serious.
Right.
We'll keep you around. We're not going to cut you off. We'll keep you around.
Yeah.
But
because as a man, we're always going to keep options.
Always going to keep options.
Even if we're very good at categorizing.
We will compartmentalize quick.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We will do it quick.
4 shells become 16, 16 becomes
right?
72.
and it's real. And it's one of those things where women, and I keep saying women because that's what I deal with, will treat you a certain way and then expect different results. And for example, my faults as a man in the dating game, things that I know that time management. If I don't have time for you, I don't tell you, hey, I really want to see you, but I don't have time for you. I just call you when I have time. That has been a fault of mine, so I've tried to be better at that. Yes, a dude will make people in general, women and men alike, if they like you, they will make time for you.
100%.
No matter how busy they are. Now, it may not be the time that you want, but you also have to recognize they're trying to make time for you. If you want to see you on Tuesday and I tell you I can't, but I really have a couple hours on Saturday I could do, or I have a couple hours on Wednesday.
Right.
If you don't take that time, I get it because you may be busy, but don't get mad at me for being busy when you're available. We'll make it work when it works. I don't expect you to cancel your day. Don't expect me to cancel mine.
That's just respect.
Yes. And I think we have forgotten how to respect each other based on how we communicate.
Yeah, because we're always trying to be in power over the other.
I don't want to be the one who's in it more. You know what I mean? That's what people's mentality is. Oh, I don't want to seem like I'm chasing her too available because then she's going to think I'm a simp or blah, 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 whatever. Another example, just recently, and I'll open you up to this one off air.
You'll be privy to this.
Yeah,
the
but
backlog.
I get introduced to a woman, 2 separate friends,
Okay.
said, you have to meet this woman. She's incredible. She's this, she's that. All right. 2 separate people saying the same thing. And I'm like, all right, guess I will
Make myself available.
Yeah. So I was like, cool. I'm down, but she has to give the okay. You know what I mean? I'm not going to just reach out. And I said this, and I am not going to jump in her DMs. No. If she wants me to have a conversation with her, she can look at all my shit's public. So she can see who I am. I've seen who she is because she told you to share her IG with me. Cool. I see that. I'm not going into her DM and getting lost in her DMs with every other dude that's hitting on her. So I was like, if she wants to have a real conversation, tell her to shoot me a DM. Or here's my number, tell her to shoot me a text. Yeah. And then we'll take it from there. So we connected.
Old school way.
Yeah, old school way. So she's like, no, have him call me. Cool. Sorry. So we have this conversation. And fun conversation, joking, whatever. She's going out of town. She comes back. I was like, hit me up when you get back. Now, once I say that,
You've already put out there.
I'm not.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm not double texting.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks go by.
You back yet?
No, yeah.
You back yet? You back yet?
So a couple weeks go by. A couple weeks go by, and she finally was like, "Oh, I'm sorry for the delayed response. Whatever." She's like, "Yeah, we should." I was like, "Yeah, we should connect at some point." She's like, "Yeah, I'm feeling under the weather." I was like, "Cool. Hit me up when you feel better." Right? Haven't heard from her since. And so my friend was like, "Yeah, so what happened?" I was like, "Nothing."
Exactly.
And then she was like, "What'd you do?" I was like, "I didn't do a thing." She's like, "Maybe that's the problem." I was like, slow your roll. I told her the story. She's like, "Oh." I was like, "Yeah, you see what y'all do." I was like, "I'm not going to chase you." There's a difference between pursuing and chasing.
Yeah.
A pursuit, you eventually know you're going to catch. A chase means somebody's running away.
Yeah.
Difference to me, and I won't do it.
And there's a difference between being hungry and thirsty.
I'm neither. You know, I know what I need.
Hungry for what you need.
Right.
Like your purpose.
Right. I ain't thirsty though. You're right.
Yeah.
You know, and it's true. And so people need to understand that. And women, for example, same thing. You meet a guy, you like this guy. Don't put all your life force into this dude.
Right.
The number one thing that's going to turn a dude off is if your life revolves around him. If he thinks that you need friends, have friends.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that now. Have friends. Number 2, if you're that woman that's got male friends, make sure that's what they are. And make sure you make it clear in the beginning, hey, I got male friends. And don't have those male friends that you go out with all the time that he's never met. Mm-hmm. Or you have a lot of one-on-one dates with this male friend and he's never invited. Because every dude's going to be like, something's up, because we know men. Right.
I was going to say this, because what happens when you get to the other side, which is my side, not that side. The married side.
I almost spit out my drink.
The married side, what happens is there's a level of, I think people have this idea of codependency.
Yep.
And they think that, especially when you get married, that there's a level of codependency that extends out. Marriage is about interdependency. There's an exchange between two different entities, crossbreeding with each other, helping each other to flourish, to grow. The ones that become codependent is waiting on the other one to give them their task, their feed, their whatever it is that however we're supposed to eat.
Right.
And you may not eat that day.
True.
So, my first marriage was very, very, I was codependent on the idea of waiting for her to show me love.
Yep.
And she was codependent on me to do the things that she felt I needed to do to get there. And we never worked. The second marriage we're very interdependent.
Yeah.
We work well together. We figure things out. We learn how to, okay, well, this is what I'm capable of. Okay, even we're still learning. That's the thing I love, is that we're still continuing to learn. That if you're in a marriage, that dating never stops. We don't date enough still, but dating never stops. But also you have to learn how to listen to each other and what each other has to say, and not rely on the opportunity that the other one's going to offer you in order for you to be okay. You have to offer up opportunity to be okay as well.
What I've noticed with friends of mine who are married and it works, and like you guys date each other. You go to the movies, you go to dinner, you do things together, you take trips. I look at my brother when he's in town, when he's here with his wife and his family. For the longest since they've been married, they always go out on dates on a night. They'll go out on a Friday night, just the two of them, no kids, no nothing. I look at my buddy across the street with his wife. Dave and his wife, they do the same thing. The baby is gone on Friday nights and to the grandparents, and they're either out with me, the single dude, the two of them, or better yet, I'm the third wheel hanging out with them,
right.
Or they're doing their own thing. And I think the importance of that is that you guys, men and women have to feel that need to be wanted. They feel that need to want to dress up and be pretty and do all of that. And I think that is important no matter what stage of the dating game you're in. I think we have to understand that everybody's life is busy. We get that. But you also have to understand everyone else's schedule and just understand that it's not personal. And it all comes down to effort. It's that simple. And we always think it has to be grand gestures. Oh, I have to take you to Nobu. I got to take you to Inaka. I got to take you to all these fancy things. No. From my understanding, if a woman likes you, she's okay doing whatever with you because she just wants to be with you.
Yeah.
Whether it's a movie, whether it's, you know what, I'm going to order some Postmates and let's just chill for a minute. Or, you know what, let's just go for a stroll.
Do you know what our first date was?
What's up?
To Mezcal Canyon. Very first date.
Went on a hike, huh?
And went on a hike. You know what we had after that? Johnny Rockets. We just drove down the street to 3rd Street Promenade. I was like, I'm hungry, you're hungry. Let's just grab something. Where do you want to go? Okay, let's just go in here. All right.
It's simple.
Yeah.
But we spend too much time on both ends trying to impress that we forget to show up.
That's because we're not connected to ourselves.
Yeah. Our agents are great.
Yeah, man.
My agent is phenomenal. That motherfucker there, I'm going to tell you, my agent steps up and is like, what?
Yeah.
And so I've learned over my, short dating career that my agent keeps his ass at home now.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I know the value I bring as a person, not as a doctor, not as a businessman. As I know shit as lay. I know the value I bring as just an individual, that I can show up as that guy. And if you like him, cool. If you don't like him,
cool.
Because and think about it. I used to think, oh, well, what's wrong with me if you don't like me? Everybody should like me. Well, nah, I'm just not for everybody.
Took me a long time to accept that.
Yeah, and women the same way. You just have to realize the whole world may fall down at your feet. You show me the prettiest woman in the world, and I'll show you a dude who's just tired of her. Because you're not for everybody, and that's okay. There's always going to be somebody who just isn't interested in you for whatever reason. There's always going to be somebody who's not interested in me. Cool. I'm not here for you or everybody else.
Right.
I'm here for you. whoever you are, you know? Right. And so it took me a while to get in that mindset. Like, it's not rejection. It's just, hey, I may have rolled up on her on a day that she's just had some bullshit happening, and I rolled up on the wrong time. All about timing. It's not that she's got an issue with me. Mm-hmm. She ain't fucking interested in anybody, and I just happen to be the next dude to walk up and be like, hey, girl. And if I'm walking up on you, 100 other guys are going to as well.
Right, right. And, you know, by the time you walked up on her, she's like, ah.
Here we go.
Here we go again.
Another one I got to shoot down.
Right, right. But, you know, I think the other thing is, I think that men, and then speaking to men, I think men should take a sales class. Learn how to sell. You'd be surprised. You learn how to sell, you can, especially in an intangible, which is you. You're selling this love, this connection, or whatever. You learn how to sell that, you can sell anything. You know, because selling something that they don't know, and you're trying to share who you are without telling so much. One, men are not listening. No. I think that one of the biggest. I think people don't listen, but men do not listen.
Correct.
They're so busy telling. I'm having a conversation with my wife right now in regards to a coworker of hers who's a sales guy. She's an account rep, and I'm like telling her, like, okay, you know, he's messing with your money. Just, you know, some things to think about are, you know, one, you're gonna have to tell him about himself. Right. But make sure that you are selling the idea. You have to sell as well. You have to sell the idea to your manager of why you need to tell him, because it's affecting your bottom, which is affecting your manager's bottom. So everybody's on board when you tell him about himself.
Yeah.
So the idea of selling yourself is listening. And I think that's the biggest thing that you can gain from learning how to sell. You might make more money in your job, but you also can sell yourself to the next person if you're struggling with the dating game.
Well, and also, if you're not in the mood to have conversations with men, or if you're not in the mood to be out, don't go out.
No.
You know what I mean? I didn't come out to be hit on. Well, you're going to be. It's that simple.
Especially when you go out, and I hate to say this, but you're going out with the level of attraction knowing that you're going to gain because you put out the effort to be attractive.
You want the attention, but you don't.
Like women in the gym. You know, there's this whole thing now where
they're catching good dude looking at them.
Yeah.
And you come post up in front of me while I'm working out.
And I should be the guy to be like, I'm going to post you up as well.
Yes.
Like, I am checking you out because this is what you're showing up in.
You know, and but it's crazy. And I always tell people also, another word of advice for women. I'm helping you with dudes like me. Set expectations.
To get to dudes like me.
Yeah. Exactly. Because your goal in life is to get there. You know? And so make your intentions and expectations known. Here's what if I'm talking to you and we've had a couple conversations, date one or two, tell them what you expect. A dude is not going to get it. We don't take hints. I'm going to say that again.
Right.
We don't take hints.
You're not telling him that you want to get married tomorrow. You're just telling him
what you expect from the dating experience.
Exactly. We'll get to that chapter when we get to that chapter.
I expect if you say you're going to call me at a certain time, you call me.
It's just a level of respect.
Yeah.
Man.
I expect for you to be a gentleman. I expect for you, whatever it is that you want from a dude, sometimes you got to tell a dude what you expect. Don't just don't just assume he's either going to be it or not, because he may want to be all those things for you, but life experience may have said other women didn't appreciate it, so he holds it back, even though it's within him. And so if the 5 women prior to you that he's dated didn't appreciate him being a gentleman, then he just won't be one with you because he assumes you're like the rest. So you have to set your expectations and make them known.
Isn't that sad, though? That's like always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yep.
It's sad.
That's how we live our life. We live our life based on past experiences.
Yeah.
And so as much as we want to say that, because women do it all the time. Oh, I hear, I don't date a certain type of dude. And the reason why you don't date a certain type of dude is because those types of dudes in the past, you didn't have good luck with. And instead of thinking, I don't date a certain type of dude because I've never had good luck, why don't you say, what is it about me that doesn't allow me to have good luck with these dudes? You know, people who say, I won't date a certain race, or I won't date a certain, like, I won't date people under 6. Why limit yourself? I always say, if you're single, and this goes for men and women, if you're a single guy or a single woman, why would you limit your dating pool? I don't understand that concept. People ask me, what's your type? Beautiful and cool. You know what I mean? And people are like, oh, that's so broad. That's just general. It's true.
Because let me tell you, because they're beautiful, you may not get that cool part all the time.
Beauty's easy. Cool is not. And notice I didn't say smart, because people, when I say, oh, you have to be smart, you got to be life smart.
Right.
You don't have to be book smart. I need you life smart. And that, to me, is part of you being cool. You know?
That's real.
And the third thing you're going to want to be that every guy will appreciate is the fact that you are not a headache. It goes with being cool. A man wants you to be his peace, and that's it.
And let me tell you, especially for women, a headache doesn't necessarily mean you being a headache to him. You're a headache to everybody.
Yes.
Your coworkers.
He's the only one that's going to tell you.
And he's not going to, if he doesn't tell you verbally, he's going to tell you in other words. He's just not going to show up anymore.
If you're dating a guy and you guys are down the road a little bit and maybe even living together, if your man comes home and before he walks in the door, he's sitting in his car for 20 minutes, y'all are having problems. Because he got home and he's sitting there like, shit. Okay.
There was a comedian who was talking about that.
But it's the
It
truth.
was his kid, though. He said he drove up. He said his kid was at the door like, He's just like, he just backed out of the driveway, did a couple of laps around the block.
Yeah, I mean, and but it's the truth, though. A man, and I was telling this to some friends of mine. I was having dinner with 2 women the other night, good friends of mine. And they very high profile jobs, etc., very attractive women. You know them both. But one thing I said to them, I was like, a man does not give a shit about your job. A man does not give a shit about your income unless you have to have and need a 2 household income. I mean, a 2 income household. A man only wants one thing. I shouldn't say only wants one thing, but appreciates one thing the most. He wants you to be his peace. He doesn't want you to be his source of stress because the world gives him enough stress already. He wants you to be his peace. He should be able to count on you. When he goes out with you, he needs to look at you as like, wow, I can breathe. I have the stress of protecting you and wanting to provide for you. I don't need the stress of you bringing more onto me. If you're my peace, then I know that the 2 of us together can tackle the world. If you're my level of stress, then that means I got to tackle the world, protect you, and then fight you off from beating me as well. And then if I feel I'm not good enough because you constantly are unhappy, then that's another problem.
Man.
Just saying.
This is the dating game. The dating game. But understand, this is not about the game of dating. Like just going out and just shooting it. This is about ownership. This is about relationship. This is about building. we're so far removed from building anymore. We're just like, oh, swipe, touch, poke. When you're dating someone, you shouldn't start at second base.
No.
You shouldn't start at second base. You shouldn't start as a was it pitch hitter? It's like, oh, let me go in and start on first base as the runner. No, you need to swing the fucking bat.
And if you're a busy, career-oriented, high-profile individual, you can't date with intention if there are 5 or 6 people on the roster.
No.
Because you don't have the time to take care of 5 Michael Jordans. No team does. Right? And so, as a woman, as a guy, we are hunter-gatherers. We will date, and then when we meet that woman that we're like, okay, she's cool, notice that we will start spending most of our time with you. When we have a free minute, we're looking for you. When we have a free minute to go to the movie, we're looking for you. When we're dating multiple, it's because I can go to dinner with this woman. I can go hike with this woman. I can go to, catch a movie with this one.
And you actually start scheduling yourself out, which sucks as well.
And so what we're looking for is the woman we can do all that with.
Because, at the end of the day, we do not want to be on the schedule.
No, at all.
It's bad enough that we have to schedule it out, but you don't want to be on the schedule down the line.
No.
You don't want to stay on that. You want to be able to have something that you, like you said, you just want to have a feel good. You want peace. You want to know that it's not just an escape, but
or like, I have some free time. What am I going to do today? That's never a question. I have some free time. I know what I'm going to do today because I got her.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Women,
women should feel the same way, though.
Yes. Women also, if you're dating, and because women date differently, men, we may date just for sex. We can, whatever. Women date differently. And if they're dating multiple men at the same time, they're never getting to know any of them. Because they're not going to I had a woman tell me, I don't want to like this one too soon. So I date these others because I don't want to like him more than the others. She told me that outright. And I was like, so because you don't want to put too much effort into a guy that you're not sure about, you're going to date other guys so you can give that one less effort. I'm like, that's the most ignorant shit I've ever heard. If you like a dude, put effort into that dude. Don't make him feel like he's one of many. Women like dudes who other women are attracted to. Men want to know that you just want them.
Yep.
If a guy thinks you want other dudes as well, he's not fucking with you seriously. I promise you that. We're very territorial. We may act like we don't care, but the minute we start liking you, we don't want you dating anyone else.
Honestly, we're way more sensitive than we
let off.
Yeah.
And the reason why we don't show it is a whole nother story, because y'all don't want to see that side of us.
Right.
Anyway, man, this conversation is a good one, man.
This is really good.
This is really.
We didn't know where this was going.
I know, right?
But I like the idea. Dating game. It is not a game if you are not playing right.
And the thing is, it should not be a game.
Exactly.
Date with intention. Date with purpose, and state your expectations.
Intensity with intention, man. Intensity with intention.
Absolutely. But
eye to the eye.
Get off your screen and go out and meet people. Get off your screen.
Say it again.
Get off your fucking screen and go meet people.
Those are violent words.
It's the truth.
Where they gonna find you, man?
You're gonna find me at
so
at Leonel Hunt on IG, and you're gonna find me at huntspine.com. Coach KJ.
At Coach KJ Knows on Instagram and CoachKJ.com.
You're gonna find us both at SOE_podcast, and you're gonna find us on podcastsoe.com. We are live every single Saturday at 11.
Get some. We out.